but I'm always really curious, like someone like you that has a ton of experience, how you might approach creating a sequence from scratch. How do you structure it? How do you think about it? What are the important parts for you?
Yeah. So I think the first step is figuring out, okay, like how are we actually gonna set up sequences? Is it what, like, one, do you have multiple products? Do you have multiple use cases? Do you have multiple personas that you sell to? And I'll tell you the specific case for us. So at Plato, we only have like one solution, or let's call it a product, but we have multiple personas. So what made the most sense to me to at least try it in the beginning was, okay, we will reach out to engineering teams, we'll reach out to product teams or leaders. And then because we're a mentorship platform for engineering and product teams, learning and development in HR sometimes gets involved as well, especially like later on in the sales cycle. So we said, okay, let's also try that. So the first step is like, how are you actually going to like target the sequences? So for us, it was persona based. Then it was like, okay, we have 3 sequences.
Sorry for interrupting you. Can I ask you a question? Let's say that you guys had 2 products.
Yeah.
How would that change how you approach it?
It might lead to us, instead of having 3 sequences, potentially having 6.
Okay.
Or there's another case where maybe in one sequence per persona, you have different emails that talk about the different products.
Got it.
And you're kind of telling a story across multiple products and seeing what sticks in a way. Mm-hmm. But what I actually recommended, especially if you have a pretty simple solution, is go persona based to start. Or if like you're industry segmented, I think that's another thing that you might want to consider. And then, so for us, per persona, and then multiple use cases if you have them within that sequence per persona.
Yeah. So again, to throw another curveball in here, if you had, we sell this into, I don't know, just make up something, insurance versus hospitals versus fintech, you might have some industry-based stuff depending on what you're selling. I don't know if that applies necessarily to you, but that would be something you're thinking about in case the language, perhaps, that I speak to someone in insurance might be different than fintech, who's going to be much more worried about security, let's say. Then, yeah. Okay.
I think my main advice, especially in the beginning, is like, let's say you could sell to 10 industries. If I'm building a team from scratch, like I'm going to be like, okay, first of all, let's look at the data. Where are we winning the most? What's the low hanging fruit? And I don't think you need to start with 10 sequences right away for your 10 different industries. Focus on 1 or 2, so that, like, one of my pet peeves, and this has happened to me in the past when you like inherit teams, like I'll go in Outreach or SalesLoft or whatever sales engagement platform you're using, and there's like 100, 200 sequences. And then you're like, one, we have no data on what's actually working or not. And then like everyone's just doing what they want, which for me is kind of a little bit chaotic because we don't actually know what's working.